So the World Health Organization has some great nutrition tips. They definitely want you thriving. They want you thriving hard. They don't want any money from Big Pharma and Bill Gates. They don't. In my opinion, I do believe this organization is run by reptilians from under the hollow earth, and they don't maybe have our best interest at heart. Maybe they don't. And I wouldn't trust their advice, so let's just go through one of their articles. 5 keys to a healthy diet, and see if they're telling the truth, or maybe there's some lies in here. Let's find them.
Just let me be a monkey.
So first, let me just say, the World Health Organization, their symbol is a little sketchy. It's a serpent, a snake overlord, wrapped around a phallic symbol, a stabbing sword, in a flat earth-like manner, with stuff pointing to the hell, pointing to hell. I don't know, this maybe get a new artist. It's not a good look. I don't trust you, just based on the symbol. If you've ever heard a YouTuber quote this organization for any health information, just run in the opposite direction, set them on fire first, and then run. My man Vegan Gains, he quotes them all the time. He's like, oh, well, these guys said this, yeah? Oh, do you? So we got this article here, 5 keys to a healthy diet. And like all misinformation tactics, there's some truth hidden amongst a bunch of lies. And we have to use our intuition, so I'm gonna use my intuition today. So their first thing, breastfeed your babies till at least 2 years old. They're trying. That's good advice. It's obvious. It's too obvious to not say like, oh, you should actually switch to soy. Have you not done that? That's why your child is dumb. So this is how they get you. They start off the article with some truth, and it's like, oh, okay, I agree with that. I bet the rest is spot on. Is it? Let's find out. Eat a variety of foods. Their first recommended list are gluten grains. Just eat a bunch of wheat, barley, and rye. Corn, if you got it. GMO, if it's available. Just a bunch of starch and sugar, yams, legumes, the hardest thing to digest, vegetables and fruits, and foods from animal sources, just as an afterthought. Like, if you got some eggs and milk and fish. The only ones people are allergic to, eggs and milk. I find these recommendations highly suspect, almost as if they were funded by the grain industry and agriculture in general. Just who would base their diet? The first thing you mention is wheat, the one food that everybody should avoid. I don't get it. The reason why is eating a variety of whole and fresh foods every day helps children and adults obtain the right amount of essential nutrients. I don't think it's the right amount. You wouldn't have access to these foods all around the world. So why are humans thriving all around the world with limited amounts of foods? The Hunzas, they eat like apricots, walnuts, and goat cheese. Like that's it, almost. Like they have hardly anything. They don't have access to these things that are imported from all over the world. This whole variety myth is a myth. Avoid a diet that's high in sugars, fats, and salts. I mean, you want to feel good? Increase those fats and salts. You'll feel on top of a mountain. Sugar, okay, but then you go to contradict yourself pretty quick. So here's the very common advice: eat lots of fruits and vegetables, because no fruitarians are struggling right now. That fruits and veggies are the key. For snacks, raw vegetables, that sounds yummy, and fresh fruit, rather than foods that are high in sugars, because sugar doesn't have fruit. You can tell by the fact it doesn't taste sweet at all. There's no sugar in fruit. Avoid sugar, eat lots of fruit. They say don't overcook your vegetables. In my opinion, some raw vegetables are very harsh. Try just grating a bunch of carrots and eating those whole. Like if you have gut issues, you don't want raw vegetables. You gotta overcook them. The GAPS diet, it's known to heal the gut, and they do very soft, like way overcooked vegetables. So you're already killing people. When using canned food, choose varieties without added salt and sugars. I gotta tell you, I just read some studies that are saying 5 grams of sodium a day is like the sweet spot for lowest mortality. I'll try to find the graph, but if you're under 2 grams of sodium a day, you die hard. and then 5 grams was the sweet spot. And then as you increase it, even if you're up to like 8-10 grams, you never die as hard as you did at the 2 grams. So it's like you always want lots, so they're scaring you away from salt, which we need. We are basically saltwater beings of the ocean sea world. But like, what canned foods don't have salt? You have to preserve it. All canned foods would rot in their tin tombstone. Now here's an interesting section. Eat moderate amounts of fats and oils. Use unsaturated vegetable oils, olive, soy, sunflower, and corn oil, rather than animal fats, high in saturated fat. My God, like, this is the cause of heart disease. The vegetable oils, everybody agrees with it. The low-fat vegans agree, as well as the keto freaks. Avoid the vegetable oils, and this is their top priority here. Unsaturated vegetable oils is what you should shoot for. Soy oil is on their list of top foods. Choose white meat. That's racist. That's just racist. White meat matters. I went there. White meat is too high in protein. Like, this is what we need to limit, the protein. Focus on the animal fats to feel the strength. And white meat, chicken, like chicken breast, the bodybuilder's diet, fish, high in mercury, low in fats, in preference to red meat. So we know red meat must be the key to health here. This organization wants you weak and suffering, in my opinion. So the things to avoid on their list are probably superfoods. Eat only limited amounts of processed meats because these are high in fat and salt. That's not even true. They're high in protein. If they were high in fat, you couldn't process them and keep them. They'd go rancid. Look at most processed meats, bologna and all that shit. Salami, it's all high protein, low fat. And salt is good for you. They're scaring you away from fat and salt. That's the key to health. Right here. Everything is the opposite on this page. Where possible, opt for low fat or reduced fat versions of milk and dairy products. Like, where would you ever get that? You couldn't do it. In nature, you milk a cow, it's like, okay, how do we separate? Actually, this butter making process, it's really easy. My light went off. I'm in the dark with my nutritional beliefs. It symbolizes I'm getting nowhere. I don't even know what to look for. Low-fat dairy is the dumbest thing anybody could eat. I myself react to the casein, the protein in milk. The higher the protein, the worse, the faster I die. So I don't see it. Like, the fat is where you need to focus, not protein, so this is stupid. Avoid processed, baked, and fried foods that contain industrial produced trans fats. Yet, right in that same paragraph, use vegetable oils, soy and sunflower, super high in trans fats. Which one do we follow, the first line or the last one? The number one use for vegetable oils is to fry and bake processed foods. And you just told us to avoid them, but they're your number one superfood. So they say fats and oils are too concentrated and you eat the wrong ones, you get heart disease. But they're telling you to eat the wrong ones. The saturated fat is the safe one. Guaranteed. No science contradicting that one. I honestly don't know. I'm aware that there's lots of science pointing to saturated fat and cholesterol being bad for heart disease. But it's a gamble I'm on right now. I feel too good eating this high-fat diet. Like, I have to do it. It just doesn't make sense. There's lots of opposing science as well. So I lean on that side just because of how much better I feel rather than eating all their required foods here. Just lots of wheat. They're saying limit the amount of salt when you're cooking. We know that 5 grams is the sweet spot to not die. That's a lot. That's 2 teaspoons of salt. And they're saying don't do it. You might live longer. And choose fruit instead of cookies. That's genius. Who would have known? I thought the cookie tree of life just never stopped giving. And I take from it often. So their final paragraph, diets high in salt increase your risk of high blood pressure, which can increase the risk of heart disease and stroke. We find that's not true. The more salt you eat, the better. You don't die as often. Take that to the bank. And then they mix in some truth. Diets that are high in sugar have a greater risk of becoming overweight and obese and increased risk of tooth decay. That's true. That's true, yet all their recommendations are eat lots of grains, fruits, vegetables, all carbs. That's fun. People who reduce the amount of sugars in their diet may also reduce the risk of non-communicable diseases, such as heart disease and stroke. I agree. So sugar is the cause of heart disease now, according to them, but avoid fat as well. So don't eat calories. We don't seem to need those. And just eat lots of chicken breast and wheat, vegetable oils, although those are fat, so get the low-fat vegetable oils. Don't add salt to it. Definitely don't buy it if it's in a can. What the hell is this? In my opinion, this is why we're all so dumb. When it comes to nutrition, it's articles like this, like it's just pure brainwashing and misinformation and confusion. And one article says this, the other says that, and we're like, oh, but he said what? Oh God. You just gotta trust the intuition. I can't guarantee the path I'm on right now won't end my shit in like 10 years. But I have to go with it. It's like, this seems to always be the way. The higher fat, I feel better. My brain works better and everything's better. So I have to go with that. And then there's a lot of people that agree with that. So I'm not alone in saying high fat is good and saturated fat is fine. And most people get their health back by eating eggs and bacon. It's like, oh, I was avoiding these for so long. Why? In my opinion, this kind of stuff is done on purpose to confuse us. But we can find our way through the labyrinth of health and experience really good health. Just, it takes some doing and trusting of some weird people. We can get there together. So that's interesting. Let me know if you want me to go through. I'm risking a lot just making this video. I'm trying to speak in code, but if they ever find out, they will end me. I know it. But I'll fight back. I can karate chop pretty hard. Good luck using your gun when I got these guns. So I'm gonna leave. Thanks for watching the video. I'm thumbing it up. I suppose this is an option. It's your right to choose. Thumbs down. If you work for the World Health Organization, you make $75 an article, and your job is to confuse the masses, which should be on a worm-based diet. And you're hiding it from them. It's bullshit. How can I trust you now? I couldn't. You don't even have a pyramid. It's not in focus until it's here. I'm gonna go after you buy a Vegetable Conspiracies t-shirt. Subscribe for more videos. Hey, man.